Good evening. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. This is Charlie speaking, and I've come back to the fray, to the LFC Transfer Room streams. Thank you for joining me tonight. I just want to say thank you for kind of let's go to kind of introductions. I just want to say hello to everybody. Dean, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm steady, mate. Can't complain. Got some blind faith in Middlesbrough for tonight, but other than that, I'm all right, mate.
Good. And Paul?
I'm doing very well, man. It's pretty cold outside here. I think it's like -30
You're
today.
cold, right? And
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. Because as I've said, it said to you offline. This is the first time I've hosted in a while after my little bit of a sabbatical. Where you based there, Paul?
I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you are
yes,
probably a little bit cold,
right?
Okay.
Yes, it's pretty chilly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Plus, I didn't like the news we got today about Trent being hurt. It's kind of sour my day. But other than that, I'm fine.
Yeah. No. Well, hopefully the warm-hearted conversation that we're going to have will kind of warm the soul a little bit. And Tom, how are you, my friend?
Yeah. All good. Cheers. Looking forward to the game tomorrow, and hopefully getting 1 foot in Wembley for the final.
Yeah. Is that absolutely? I agree. So well, let's see how this tonight goes. As I see the drama going through. So there's lots going on, surprisingly. So we'll just kick off with a little bit of transfer news as usual. Then we'll talk about team talk, and then as usual, which I like to do at the end of my streams, a bit of a Q&A. So we'll get you guys in the comments. Please kind of send in your questions. I'll save them as best as I can, and then we'll go through those questions, answer them with open and honest kind of dialogue amongst ourselves, what we all think, and then we'll see how we get on. But I can just see that Jay, hell yeah, always really pleased to see you guys. Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of transfer news. So something's just actually come out today, and a bit surprising, considering the player being discussed is Joel Matip is with a possible move to Saudi Arabia and joining Steven Gerrard's team. Dean, I'll kind of start off with yourself. Any thoughts? Is it surprising that a player that has a season-ending injury has been linked away at the end of the year, end of the season per se, anyway?
Yeah. Like I say, with that injury, you would think it would be quite surprising for him to move in the summer, but he is out of contract, isn't he, in the summer as it stands anyway. I would be quite surprised if the club don't extend, like they did a bit with the Oxlade-Chamberlain situation a few years ago, bit of due diligence and all that. But it screams Saudi, doesn't it? Someone, a big name player in the Premier League who plays for a top club who's out of contract to go to Saudi Arabia. It's their postage stamp. It's their main thing. So I'm not surprised about it. Do I see it happening? Probably not. I still think he deserves to play in a top league. Barring his injury issues, he's easily a top 4 centre back in my eyes in the Premier League. Well, there's other obviously bits and bobs going on about former Liverpool players going and leaving Saudi, like a former captain. So I wonder if there is any truth in the matter of they want him. Does that play into his mind of, he went there 6 months ago. Why does he want to leave all of a sudden? So that also will play a crucial part into it as well.
Yeah. I guess, Paul, any thoughts about the potential move for Matip? I believe that he is out of contract at the end of this summer, end of this season, isn't he? So for him to secure a contract that guarantees him playing football, whether that's going to be in a great league or Saudi Arabia, do you think that's kind of turn his head to ensure that he is still able to produce the goods?
I doubt we'll see Matip in Saudi next season for a number of reasons. One, I think he seems to have a very good relationship with Klopp, because despite what most of us think, he's always seeming to be on the team sheet when he's fit and available. And I remember just after he got that last injury, Klopp was saying something to the effect that he hopes the team does the right thing by giving him a contract extension. And Matip doesn't strike me as the person who will go about and search for the last dollar that he can find. So I think if the club can believe that he can contribute for another year or two, he will get a contract extension, and I'm fine with that. Also, with this latest news with Hendo and Bobby Firmino and some of these guys who probably finding out that Saudi is not what they thought, I think players like Matip might, have a second thought about should I stay, should I go. So if I should bet right now, I would say still with Liverpool next year with a 2-year contract. But I guess we just have to wait and see. But I don't think, I think the Saudi league is going to flop. That's just my opinion. But I could be wrong. But it's just not good football down there. It's hard to watch, and players are not enjoying themselves. So I think he'll stay.
Thanks, Paul. Just want to shout out a massive thank you to Jen, as always, supporting the channel, keeping the channel alive as usual. So Jen, you put a question out there about a watch along. Unfortunately, there wouldn't be a watch along tomorrow. But yeah, we would like to see if there's opportunities in the future, maybe on the weekend. With weekend matches, they seem to track numbers a lot better than your Wednesday evenings where understandably people are a little bit busier that way. Paul, I'm going to come to you, my friend. Just kind of sticking with Matip. Prior to his injury, he was obviously first choice alongside Virgil. Do you think with his form and the ability of surgeons, I know it sounds daft, but medicine today, medical practices allows players to kind of come back from those career-ending injuries that those used to be. If you have an injury that bad, you're out for a longer period, 18 months at that point. Do you think, just going by what Paul said, do you think Klopp and the scouting department, commercial team would actually offer Matip a 1-year contract extension?
For Paul or Tom?
For Tom. Paul? Yeah, for Tom.
Oh, sorry. I kind of agree with what Paul was saying. To be fair, I can't see him going to Saudi. I would like to see him get a new contract. I think he deserves it. He's been obviously such a good servant for us, hasn't he, for so many years now. So I think he obviously deserves to sort of have a farewell. But obviously, it comes down to it. It's a business, isn't it? And whether FSG see as financial sense to give him that new contract at 33, I think he is now, isn't he? Especially with the emergence of Kwanzaa as well, I think that sort of might play in their minds a bit as well. So, like I said, I would love him to sign a new contract because it's what he deserves. And I don't think we will go to Saudi because I agree with Paul. I think it's not been sort of as good as what they might have hoped. Obviously, the attendance has been really poor, haven't they? There's not been much media attention on it, which is strange considering the amount of top players that are there. And obviously, rumours of Hendo, Bobby, Gerrard all sort of not happy there. So, yeah, I can see Matip, if we don't offer a new contract, I can see him maybe going back to the Bundesliga, maybe back to Schalke or, a club like that. I can see him go back to Germany. But, yeah, I would love to see him get a new contract because he deserves that farewell in front of the fans and all that.
And just to dampen everyone's mood, David Coote's been appointed for the referee tomorrow's match. Yeah, great. Thanks, Helia. But yeah, I think it's, for me, in terms of the Matip situation, unless he's willing to take an absolute massive pay cut, because he's still on decent money, I believe, for a player that is at his age, with the injury that he had, and potentially now 5th choice behind Kwanzaa, because I am fully on board the Kwanzaa train. I think he's fantastic. He has every attribute in terms of ability and mentality to be a really top class Premier League defender. So whether he would actually be willing to be 5th choice potentially, and even then you got Joel Gomez, who's potentially going to be ahead of him, or other players coming back into the fray, loan deals. Nat Phillips is there. Sepp van der Berg is playing really, really well, so he would probably come back and try to play cup games. That's going to be the question. I mean, Dean, let's stick with Matip for a little bit. But what do you think about that point itself? Would Matip be willing to be fifth choice?
Hard to say. I think Klopp always installs this mentality into players. So if you fight for your place, you'll get a chance. I think was he 33 now? I think he wants to play as many games as possible within reason. If he can get a better move in terms of game time somewhere else, but play at a higher level, or just a high level, I think he would take that. But whether we get the money, as much as we went on about with Saudi Arabia, he's not a money grabber as such. He'll still want to be on a decent wage, with it being his last contract potentially as a footballer. He'll still want to be on a decent wage. But I do think he'll end up sticking around for at least potentially another year, because he's got no resale value due to his age. But I'd personally like him to stick around because he has got his qualities. It's just his availability is a concern. We've always gone on about he's made of glass. If he had the fitness of Van Dijk, bar the ACL injury, obviously, if he had his fitness, he starts every week at the end of the day, in my eyes. He starts all the big games when he's fit, if we've noticed. So I do end up seeing him sticking around. It's just how long that injury is going to take to heal up. Typically, that type of injury is like 9 to 12 months. It could be even longer. We'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah. I've brought this comment up about fifth choice. What are you smoking? I think it's quite reasonable to think that Joel Matip could be bottom of the centre back choices.
I disagree.
Disagree. Go for it. Go for it, Paul. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Matip, I just double checked a while ago. He's the same age as VVD, as Van Dijk. I think they're 1 month apart. He is one of the better defenders in terms of a goal threat in the 6-yard box from corners, set pieces, etc. He's one of the guys also that from time to time, at least once or twice a game, would venture into midfield with the ball and can make that pass. So, of course, he's not going to be playing every day for 90 minutes. But he could very well be, along with Van Dijk, in our strongest 11 if he's 100% fit. Even if he's not 100% fit and just, okay, maybe Konate, Matip has a lot to contribute. Look at a guy like that plays for Chelsea. He's like 50 years old. What's his name? Thiago Silva?
Thiago Silva, yeah.
Yes. How old is this guy? He's been around forever. And I think Matip is a better player than Thiago Silva. I think Matip have another year or two at top level that we can use. Yeah. So, yeah, he's a good one. Plus, Charlie, I'm still not convinced that Konate can give you 4 or 5 games on the bounce without being injured. So you need, if VVD is going to play every game in the Premier League, then I think we need to rotate Matip and Konate for the other position just to keep our side strong. So I wouldn't mind giving him a contract extension as long as he recovers fully from his illness, from his injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't see him as fifth choice if he's fit.
Yeah. Okay. It's that question, isn't it? It's that last point, whether he can remain fit.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out for a long period, getting back into the swing of things, and we've seen it with other players, haven't we? When they come back from a long injury, it takes them a year. Oxlade's probably the example, isn't he? He was out for so long, and then when he came back, he just had injury after injury after injury. With Matip's age, do you think that could that reoccur with Matip?
It's possible, but because we are so well stocked in that department with Kwanzaa and Konate and possibly Gomez, if we're not going to rely on Matip to play every game. So he's a good guy to have around. And furthermore, Joe Gomez seems to be doing better at fullback, right back, even at left back, he's doing decent. I'm not sure I trust Joe Gomez at centre back, as much. But Joe Gomez on the right, even coming into midfield when Trent is not around, I think that's where he contributes more to the team. Than so I would say Matip would certainly be ahead of Gomez for centre back if he's fit.
Yeah. Okay. So Tom, I'll come to you about this one. Should we stop Kwanzaa's development by giving a senior player like Matip a contract extension, or do we take the punt and allow him to grow and still develop while here?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I do think Matip's still a world-class centre-back on his day. That's the issue. Like, we know his injury record similar to Thiago, but we know when they're fit what they can bring to this team. They're so important to this team. That, like I said, I think they're both world-class players. And Matip, in this case, I think he's brilliant on the ball. He's commanding. He's got everything he needs as a centre-back. So, obviously, the age is a tough one. Kwanzaa looks absolutely brilliant. He looks like the complete package, or at the age of 20, which is astounding, really. So yeah, it just depends, really. Like, if you keep Matip, how you sort of plan to use him, whether you just keep him as a squad player. In that case, you're not really hindering Kwanzaa much. But yeah, I would probably give him a 1-year extension, but probably have Kwanzaa ahead of him in the pecking order and just keep him as like third, fourth choice.
Yeah. So you've kind of put another question. I didn't actually include this in the title of the video, but maybe it's worth a small discussion before we move on to the other topics. But Van Dijk, Paul, you mentioned about the closeness in age between Matip and Virgil. I'll start with you, Dean. Let's go with you, Dean. About Virgil's contract, would you be willing to give Virgil another contract extension similar to Salah? Players of that age, and maybe this is where it kind of sways my thinking, where I'm thinking Matip maybe should go. His age is probably not, but footballers these days, they play into their mid-30s. Paul, you mentioned Thiago Silva being, still playing games at his age. Maybe Dean or anyone else that wants to kind of sway my mind. Is it right to actually give players at that age contract extensions?
Every player is different, as we've discussed already about reliability, availability. In regards to Virg, you keep him until he retires, until his legs do, what, I've had enough. You keep him around, give him 1 year, give him 2 years, whatever. He's the best centre-back in the world still now, especially now he's fully recovered. In regards to Matip, it's the opposite, isn't it? It's literally on your day, your quality. But from a business point of view, we're giving you 150k a week to sit in the training room. We're doing that already with Thiago on even more money. So, like with what you mentioned before with Thiago Silva, he's a one of a kind in a sense. There's not many players who are consistently playing at the top level in the Premier League at the age of 40 and staying fit. It is a rare commodity. I think Virg is the only one who's quite close to that in terms of, mid-30s, coming up low to mid-30s, where he's playing virtually every week and not picking up little niggles here and there. So players are they are playing longer, but it is very much down to where they play, what their game is, and what style of play they play as well. Can they play high aggressive pressing football? Whereas Thiago Silva, just go back to him, he doesn't play that. They play in quite deep, really, in comparison to how we play. They don't play high pressing football from the back, that suits him. And then just to go back to Virg, he can still play that because he still has his pace. Whether that may dwindle in the next couple of years remains to be seen. But easily keep him around for another 3 years without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if he is given a contract, but there is on the other side. We've seen players like Jimmy Milner be released, and other players, Gini Wijnaldum, Bobby, players who have given their all for the club and to be released. When they're on the free, we'll have to see. Jay, I'm totally against that. However, if we do get to 10k, I may consider shaving a beard. I don't know if I would actually have to host for a few months while the beard grows back. But let's see. Okay, let's move on. I think that was a really good discussion about Matip. I think it's an 50-50 in terms of the group today, the number of guests. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the stream. Please kind of write down Matip yes, Matip no, and we'll kind of try to get a feel as to what's going on there. The next topic I wanted to talk about was a bit of interesting news. One of our members, one of the fellow guests that we have within the channel, received an interesting email from the club today. This is in regards to member ticket sales and the ballot results. Now, the wording that we've had is, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, it is necessary for us to reschedule both the notification of the ballot results and the members' ticket sale. Now, I don't know if there's anyone here, whether that's in the comments or on the stream tonight, who's been impacted also by this. But it kind of comes back to the ongoing issues with the tickets. I mean, me personally, I've struggled to get tickets this season. That's mainly because it's a bit of poor planning from my side and being able to travel up. But, for those fans who want to get tickets, did get tickets, emails saying that they've been allocated certain results in terms of ballot. Now the club are kind of gone back of that. Tom, you may have a little bit more information about this, but what are your thoughts about the ticket fiasco?
Yeah, it's nothing new really. We've had this before. It's obviously just for the second half games for the second half of the season. And you registered about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so they've waited ages, and it was meant to be released today, the results, and then just like a couple of hours before it was meant to be released, the results. They've said that they're going to delay it due to unforeseen circumstances, but they've not got into any more details, so God knows what it is.
There's no dates. There's nothing to tell us when those results will come back.
They've not said what the issue is or when they're going to reschedule it for, so which kind of sums them up really. I think the ticket thing just needs a whole just rerun, to be honest. There's always problems with the site, always delays, like slow getting on. Just the whole thing just needs a reboot. Obviously, getting onto the ladder as well is just becoming harder, especially like the away ladder. It's like it's very hard to get onto. So, like I said, the whole ticketing site and ticketing system just needs a good look into, because it's not good enough really for a club like this. Yeah.
And Dean, I don't know if you've had any kind of experiences with ticket issues, but it's not great. It's not something that a club of Liverpool stature should do. Considering Manchester City and their ticketing, cooking of the books, let's say, and how they operate. We could sell our the stadium twice over. We could fill it twice, and there still be people wanting to come in. So why is it that the club don't want to reach into the pocket and actually fix a problem? But do you have any thoughts about that itself?
It's baffling. It's the one thing that the club's never managed to fix, even under the current owners and the previous owners before that, and the ones even before that. The ticketing system is absolute farce. Instead, it's the biggest money maker, bar the TV money that the club has, especially without the new stand built. You think it was the first thing that they jump at, try to fix. I just don't understand it. And it also puts people off being a member, which is even more money going into the club. I was a member for a good 5-6 years, barely got any tickets, because a lot of members don't seem to get. And it's put me off having it again for the last 2 years because it is an absolute farce. So, like Tom said, it needs a ground up restructure, whether that is through a different way of doing a ballot or renewing the whole system itself. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you, but it's a bit of a joke. A club of this size having something of a ticket system from League Two, basically. I suppose this is the downside of having, like you said before about filling the stadium. You could fill the stadium twice over. This is the downside of that, because so many people are clamoring for tickets that it brings in the likes of touts, and obviously it brings in the likes of people like passing the season tickets down to the family when they really shouldn't. But I get why. like I say, it just really needs to sort itself out one way or another.
And Paul, I'll ask you from an outside perspective. When hearing issues about ticketing, does that kind of dishearten you in terms of why is it that the club make it difficult for fans who want to watch their team? Why can't they fix this issue? And do you from the outside perspective, seeing that you're outside the UK, do you feel that there's a lack of atmosphere in the ground sometimes? And is there anything that you think you could point out?
Well, from an outside looking in, first of all, I've tried a couple of times just explore the possibility of coming to the UK to watch a game. But then when you go online and see the prices being asked for these tickets, it's ridiculous, so, and it's hard to get. As to the atmosphere, I always wanted to come and to just go to the Cup End, because that seems to be where the action is. The other end seems to be just a little bit more tame. But I don't know. Is it that there is more demand than tickets available? Why this is the issue? Because here, I guess, because in Canada it's so different, and our population is not like UK, but it's so easy to go to a sporting event here. Just go buy a ticket and go. But I don't know. Is it that there's more demand than tickets available? It's baffling from my side, but as I said, I don't know what it is like in the UK. I've never been there, so it's tough for me to comment, really.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you adding to that. I think for me, when I hear certain touts, who have multiple accounts, still being able to get tickets, when really it should have been one member's, membership per person, and only that person can have tickets. There's just a problem that the club aren't willing to address, because it is impacting the atmosphere at the stadium. Who's actually coming in? It's a difficult one, isn't it? But maybe it's one we can discuss for another day. Hopefully in the summer they'll fix it. I do want to get on to team talk, so we'll end this discussion. We'll move on to a very quick non-LFC piece of news as well. I thought it'd be interesting just to discuss about Hendo potentially moving from Saudi. I know we kind of mentioned it earlier on in the stream, but Henderson has kind of flirted with other Premier League teams. Why he may not be moving over to UK could be related to tax, who knows, or lack of games at the top. Newcastle's been mentioned. Sunderland may be an option for him if he wanted to drop down the league. But Tom, I'll come to you. The news is reports are saying that Henderson is considering a move to Ajax, who aren't in the best position themselves. But do you think that would be a good move for Henderson?
Yeah, I think it'd be a very good move for him. Obviously, it's not a great league, but it's one of the biggest clubs in Europe, one of the best fan bases. So it's never a bad move to go to Ajax. But I can't see it happening. I think if he does leave Saudi, he'll come back to England to probably a bottom half Prem team like a Palace or someone like that. But just to add to that, I think it's a bit sad in a way, the way he's kind of tarnished his legacy a little bit with just fans in general, really, hasn't he? Just the whole way he's gone about, like the whole move, like the way he's gone. But the things he said after it, like it wasn't for the money. He said, didn't he? It wasn't so like you should just be honest and say he went for the money. Then people would have a lot more respect for him. Then I think he had a couple of things to say about Klopp, didn't he? About like I can't remember what it was now, but he said something about like if he really wanted me, he would have kept me, something like that, didn't he? He's made a few little comments here and there, which just a bit unnecessary, really. So yeah, it's a bit sad the way it's kind of gone for him, because I think his reputation, unfortunately, has been a bit tarnished with the whole thing. But yeah, to come back to the Ajax, I think it will be a good move. But I could see him going back to England if he does leave Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. And Paul, what options do you think would be available for Henderson if he were to leave Saudi Arabia?
I think he's in a tough spot. I think he's desperate to continue to play for England. And my guess is that somebody, be it Southgate or somebody else, whisper in his ear and say, listen, is what's happening in the Saudi Pro League. Your team hasn't won in like months. We can't justify keeping you in that England team with the kind of talent that we have over here. So if you want to continue if you want to go to the Euros, you know what you need to do. I think his options are limited actually, because there is no top six team. None of the top six team right now will be looking at Hendo. Not so much his age, but I don't think he's good enough right now. Because even if he should come back to Liverpool, which won't happen, he would be like 6th or 7th on the bench in terms of our options in midfield. So if he should come back in the Premier League, I'm going to say a team like Palace or maybe not even Newcastle. Palace or Wolves or one of those teams would probably give him a gig. But I think the time is ticking on his England career, and that's what is bothering him. I think he realized he made a big mistake of leaving to go to Saudi. But I don't really think it's really the money. I could be wrong. I don't think it's really the money that drive the move to Saudi. You know, I think Klopp had this man-to-man talk with him and said, listen, your minutes going to be extremely limited. And I think he just couldn't deal with that. I think he felt a little bit embarrassed. He's a captain, he's going to be spending time on the bench, and he was glad to get the option to leave. So I think he needs to just understand that, you know what, he's not young anymore. His better days are behind him, and just stay where he is. He's just causing too much controversy now. It's time to move on. Yeah.
One thing that kind of just triggered when we were talking, he's a Sunderland boy, isn't he? So he's never going to play for Newcastle. So yeah, because of the rivalry there.
But it's not going to come and play in the Championship, would he?
No, I don't think his ego would allow him to drop down the league. I think he wants to play at the very, very top. But Dean, we'll spend a couple more minutes on this topic before we move on to more exciting things about tomorrow's match. Any thoughts? Any last thoughts around about Henderson? Are you really bothered? Is he? That's it, done. Thanks for the good memories.
It's quite hilarious to a point, quite sad in another way. Getting 12 months, if less than 12 months, he's gone from being a bona fide Liverpool legend, great captain, to a bit of a joke, in all honesty. And it's such a shame. He's gone over there, and it was for money at the end of the day. He could have gone anywhere else. He could have gone to, it would have been a drastic drop, but he could have gone to Sunderland and played every game. He could have gone to another European side and played every game. But at the end of the day, he chose what he chose, and he left with a tarnished reputation the way he left. I find it quite hilarious how he's come scampering back saying, I want to move, and I've heard he's considered Bayern, he considered Bayer Leverkusen. I was like, you are joking, man. You've got no chance. Two teams flying, especially Leverkusen. You're not even going to get anywhere near them teams. So an Ajax level, who are struggling, completely out of whack at the moment, is that level you're suited to? Because you're not playing well in where you are at the moment. You don't deserve to be in the England squad. And I've heard as well, if he comes back to the UK, he'll have a whop-off tax bill. And if he does that, he loses all the money, well, at least half the money he's gained by going over there and tarnishing his reputation. So as much as I respect him for what he's done at Liverpool, and I really do, and I'll always hold that in my heart for him, I'm like, get on with it, lad. This is your own doing. I'm sorry. Tough.
Yeah. Well, we'll end that conversation. Let's go on to team talk, and it's a really, really exciting time for Liverpool. Obviously, we're in 4 competitions. We come to the very end of this competition now. We're getting to the kind of the nitty-gritty semi-final, first leg at Anfield against Fulham. Strong favourites for the whole competition. But as with always, there's a bit of a downer. Tom, I'm going to come to you, but first of all, I'm just going to read out the players that are going to be not available for tomorrow's match, and how much of an impact these players not being available has an impact on your team. So we've got Trent, we've got Joel Matip, Virgil was out on the weekend. He may be back. Who knows? It's that illness, whether he was actually available. Andy Robertson, Simicas, Wataru Endo, who's at the Asia Cup, Bajcetic, Thiago, Soboslai, Mo Salah, and Ben Doak. Now, that in itself, I don't think Adrian could be added to that as well in terms of not being available. That's essentially a full 11 that you could mix in and not have available to us. Does that kind of give you a bit of a worry there, Tom, as to what we would expect against Fulham?
Not really for this game. I think we should still be quite comfortable in this game, but going forward, I think it is obviously a concern. Quite a few of them are quite long term as well, aren't they? At least the next few weeks. So obviously, when you're in a title charge and in all the other trophies as well, that is concerning. I think the Trent one's a massive knock because I think this season he's been sensational. I think
phenomenal, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's stepped up massively. I think he's kind of become a bit of a Gerrard this season. Like when we're down in the dumps, it's like give the ball to Trent, isn't it? He can do some magic and try and bail us out of this, and he's done that a few times. Obviously, Man City, the Fulham game springs to mind. So yeah, I think he's really sort of stepped up. He's been influencing games like he never has before. So that is a big concern. Obviously, we got no real cover there either. Obviously, we got Conor Bradley, who looks great potential, but it's hard to just throw him straight into like a semi-final and all these big league games in it. We've got no other cover, so he's going to have to play. So yeah, like I said, I think for tomorrow we should be all right, but particularly the Trent one is a worry for the next few weeks just because of the lack of cover we got in that position and also just how vital he's been for us this season.
Yeah. Paul, I'll come to you about essentially the same question. Does that injury list worry you? And we'll go through the team. I'll ask you for who you would want to play in certain positions. But Paul, that injury list, do you think it's manageable at the moment? Do you believe in the youth that we have in the squad, considering who's available on the weekend against Arsenal? What are your thoughts?
Well, on the face of it, I think I was counting like 10 or 11 players. That is a worry, and these are core players. But on the flip side, it could be hopefully a blessing in disguise because we are forced now to give some other young players some opportunities. Up until the end of last season, none of us really know how good Kwanzaa was, right? But he got an opportunity, and now he probably warrants a start almost every game. Conor Bradley, yes, it was just for 15 minutes, but he looked really good against Arsenal. And, I've been watching a few videos on Owen Beck since he was recalled to the team recently. And he seems like a talented guy. The problem we're having, I think, is we don't have... Well, are we going to keep Gomez on the left side, or are we going to move him to the right with Trent not available? That's where we have to decide how we're going to set up. But, every team has their injury problems. I don't think the guys will be out for more than a couple of weeks at worst. Pep said this morning that Thiago and Bajcetic will be back next month. So hopefully this is just our little period where we have to suffer. And looking at the fixtures coming up, the only one that scares me is Chelsea and Arsenal at the end of the month, first week in February. I think we should be fine against Fulham, and I think we have Bournemouth some in another week or two.
So the fixtures that we have for the remainder of the month is Fulham, Bournemouth, Fulham. We've got an FA Cup fourth round against Norwich or whoever it was, and then Chelsea. And then Arsenal.
Right. So
the February game.
I don't think Musa will be back for the Chelsea game, but hopefully Dom is back. I think we should be fine. I'm hoping that the young guys see this as an opportunity to really show us what they're made of. And the fact that Liverpool has been quiet so far in the transfer market, I just wonder, is it a case where they know these young guys more than us, and really believe in them and wanted to give them an opportunity. I'm hoping that's the case, because if that's the case and they're right, then we should have a very good team, for the next year or two. So, I think we should be able to win these games upcoming with the team that we have. But just that we are at a point now where we cannot take one more injury, because we are down to bare bones. But we should be fine for the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping.
Yeah. So in terms of reported return times for the players, I've got it here. I did have it here. So the left backs, so Andy Robertson and Tsimikas are expected to be back at the end of the month. Bicetic and Thiago, again, just like what you said, Paul, February return. Trent is out for weeks. We were hoping he may be back for the Arsenal game. We just don't know. And Szoboszlai is running, but he's not back yet. So it could be a case that just gonna have to watch this space and see who's available come the end of the month, and hopefully the injury list doesn't grow. Dean, I'll come to you just to gather your thoughts before we start thinking about who we want to play in tomorrow's match. Do you have any thoughts about the growing injury list?
Yeah, as Paul said, we can't really afford anymore. We're teetering on the edge of a major crisis, aren't we, in regards to injuries? I think we'll be all right. This is, if you had to choose a time of the season for it to happen, it is right now, because we've got mainly cup games for the end of the month. In regards to tomorrow, I think it's quite simple. Who plays at the back, especially? I think Bradley plays at right back. I originally thought Beck, but with that FIFA rule of only playing for 2 clubs in the season, I can't see him being involved, because he can't be loaned back out again if that was the case.
Yeah.
So I think Bradley fills in until Trent's back. I did hear that Pep did say it was 3 weeks. That hopefully it was 3 weeks for Trent, which would be the Chelsea game he should be back for. So hopefully he'll be back for that. And like I say, with Szoboszlai should be back for Bournemouth. So hopefully it'll start easing over the next couple of weeks after the mini winter break. But in regards to tomorrow, it's going to be a very similar lineup into the Arsenal game. Just maybe 1 or 2 changes. Obviously, Trent being one of them, and possibly in the goalkeeper. It's just got to get through. Just win your games. Grin and bear it, basically.
So I think the important thing, because it is over 2 legs. If tomorrow doesn't go as well as we would want it, there's still that second leg. We do play away, do play well away from home these days. So I'm not too worried if we don't put in the performance that we would expect. So we'll kick off with goalkeepers. I think we all agree, and I think Pep Lijnders has already confirmed that Kelleher will be starting in goal. I'm pretty sure we all agree with that. So we'll move to let's go with centre backs for now, because the centre backs will kind of determine who plays on the wings. Paul, I'll ask you very quickly. Who are your main 2 for your centre back positions?
I think tomorrow we will play Van Dijk, especially with Trent out. We need that experience. And Klopp seems to want to limit Konate's minutes. So I think we'll see Quanta and VV at the back. Joe Gomez will stay on the left side. And the young guy there, what's his name? McConnell?
McConnell's a midfielder. Do you mean Connor Bradley?
Bradley. Yeah, Bradley will be right back. I think that's that's how we will line up tomorrow in the back.
Okay.
If you want me to continue the entire team?
Yeah, go for it, Paul. This is open.
From midfield, I think I don't like to see Harvey Elliott on the wing. I think he's too slow and he's not effective when he tried to play like Mo Salah on the right. So I expect to see him back in midfield along with Maka and Curtis Jones. Gravenberch seems to perform better coming off the bench, so I would stick him on the bench. And then up front, I would stick with how we finished the last game with Darwin on the left, Jota in the middle, and Lewis on the right, and Cody Gakpo on the bench. I think that team should be strong enough to win at Anfield.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good team. Slight change to what Hellier has just said. Dean, I'll ask you, mate. Do you agree with what Hellier's put out there, or would you go with something similar to what Paul has said?
I think it'd be very similar to what Hallie said, but the only thing I have is the centre back situation. We're going to be up against I know he's not the greatest striker in the world, but he's still effective. Jimenez is quite physical. Will Kwanzaa be able to match up to that physicality? And also playing on that right side with a very young right back. Are we going to have too much inexperience on that right side? I can see Canate starting or at least coming on at half time, 45 minutes apiece. Could definitely see that happening. Other than that, I can see the back line being the same as in Van Dijk, Gomez, and Bradley. I can see that 100% being right. Elliott, I think, would be in midfield because I think he suited the right hand side when he had like Szoboszlai playing there, making the runs through. I don't think Gravenberch suits the right side too much. I don't think Klopp likes playing him there. I think he definitely prefers the left hand side. So I can see being Jones and McAllister definitely midfield with Elliott. And like Paul said, Diaz on the right, definitely more effective. And then Jota and Nunes for me, especially Jota's just banging form. 3 games and he's had 3 goal contributions. Just let him start. As long as he's 100% fit, just let him start.
Yeah. So far, it's 2 for 2 for Gomez to be left back. Tom, your thoughts? Are you going to go with left back or right back?
Yeah, I think I'd probably go for a similar team to Healy. I think I just agree with was it Dino said that I think Canate will come in just because with Bradley on the right hand side. I think it would be obviously an experienced right hand side. You go with Bradley on Kwanzaa, so I think Canate will come in alongside Van Dijk, and I think Elliott will come in for Gravenberch just to change that team. Just as Dean said as well, I think Gravenberch suited better to the left, so I think it'd be Elliott and Jones in front, just in front of McAllister, and then I'll go with that front 3 again. I think I'd really love to see Diaz on the right again. I think he really surprised everyone there with how he played. Obviously, that's been a bit of a concern, hasn't it? The backup to Mo, but I think if that performance is anything to go off, then I think we'll be all right. Obviously, Diaz is more of like a traditional winger, really, isn't he? Like an old school sort of winger. So he might actually be sort of better suited to play on his right, on his where his foot is, like not cutting in, just running down the line, beating players with his pace. So yeah, I'd really like to see that Diaz on the right again. Yeah, and apart from that, just make a couple of changes that I said before. Yeah.
And I'm sure it wasn't by complete fluke, complete accident, but Bojack has just mentioned about that, the tactical changes that Klopp made in the second half, allowing Nunes to be on the left, Jota coming in. Jota's brilliant. I absolutely think the world of him. I think he's so intelligent. And then Diaz being on the right. I would like to think that it's actually by design rather than by complete accident. But let's see. If you want my thoughts, I think Kelleher will have Bradley, Canate, Virgil, and Gomez at the back. McAllister being supported by Jones and Elliott, I think, and then up the front 3 that we finished up with. So Nunes, Jota, and Diaz. There you go. That'll be my first 11. Let's finish off the game, and then we can start introducing, keeping guys fresh for the Bournemouth game, and then go from there. We could potentially finish this game off, finish the tie off tomorrow. So the best way to do that is play our strongest team available and win the game, get a good score, and then start resting players. That's the way I would like it. But as we know, football is a cruel game sometimes, and plays tricks and doesn't allow us to have everything that we want. I don't know if there's anything else that we want to be talking about. I think we all agree about the teams themselves. We've got about 10 minutes. I just want to open it up to our comments section. Are there any questions? I know there was one question around from Muse. So best replacement for Trent. Let's think about this kind of long term over the next few weeks. Let's stick with that. Paul, I know you've probably got some strong opinions about who should play, but what would you be happy to play kind of Bradley at right back if either Robertson or Tsimikas somehow make a recovery in the next week or so, would you want Gomez at right back, or would you stick with Gomez at left back and bring in one of the youth players at right back?
I would probably use Gomez because Gomez have shown that he has the ability to venture into midfield at times. Of course,
he's going to score a goal tomorrow. He's going to
probably,
score.
Hopefully,
yeah.
He has to score.
Yeah. He's going to score.
Let's hope when he do score, it's a worldie, and not just a tap in. But we take anything. Yeah, I think he has the experience. He seems to be able to come into midfield more because Klopp seems to like that midfield overload. And I actually prefer Joe Gomez at right back than centre back. Joe Gomez remind me, he's a better version of that Manu guy, Wan-Bissaka, where he's a very good one-on-one defender. He's very quick, but unlike Wan-Bissaka, he offers you a little bit more going forward. So if, for example, Klopp decided, you know what, I'm going to just stick Trent in the midfield and want to use Gomez as our long-term right back, I'll be fine with that. I think he can do it. As to the younger guys, Conor Bradley, we don't know. He deserves an opportunity, and then we can assess him after. And I am not opposed to him getting an opportunity if that's what the team decide to do. But from what we know right now, I like Joe Gomez at right back. I really do.
Tom, do you think Joe Gomez is our new James Milner? You know, very much a utility player. He can play at centre back, but he may not be first choice. He can play at a fullback, but he may not be first choice in those positions. But do you think there's a role for Gomez over the remaining part of his career, or large part of his Liverpool career, being that utility player where he can come in and help Klopp out by being available and allowing players to be rested?
Yeah, 100%. Those players are just so valuable, aren't they? Like, if you think about the Premier League, what other defenders can play right back, centre back, and left back? I think you could probably count them on one hand, to be honest. So I think, he's definitely got a role at future as a utility player. Whether that's what he wants long term, I'm not sure. But obviously for us, it's brilliant because it saves us a few quid in the transfer market because he can cover right back, centre back, and left back, and does a very good job at all three of them. So yeah, I think he's just an incredibly valuable player. Obviously, Klopp loves them type of players as well, doesn't he? They could play multiple positions. So yeah, obviously still only young as well. 25, 26 maybe. So still got a lot of years ahead of him. You forget that because he's been at the club for so long. So yeah, I think he's got a great future ahead of him at the club, to be honest, just due to that versatility and the quality he has in each one.
Yeah, he's 26. Still young. You know, he's probably coming into his prime. What you expect for a player. So you forget how young Joe is, considering he's been at the club for absolutely years. You know, going back to Brendan Rodgers' days, isn't he? So 2013, probably when he first made his move and came in at left back, didn't he? Dean, your thoughts on Joe? For me, and I don't know if you agree, Dean. But he's become a bit of a cult hero because of this goal situation where he's coming in and shooting from all angles, being quite unlucky with the shots. But he's shown real good technique with some of the shots. But do you think he's becoming that bit of a cult hero for the club now, for the fans?
Yeah, very much. It's a bit of a mini success story for the season. In all honesty, you go back for 12 months and he was on the fringe. Some people are saying sell him on because he wasn't playing or because he's injured. And now looking at him now, you think he should be in the team all the time. You know, whether it is at right back or left back. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife, like I say, a bit like James Milner. Every football manager loves to have a Swiss Army knife in the squad, and that's the beauty of this squad in general. They all can play virtually multiple positions. That's the best part about this squad. So versatile, and people just want to play, and they'll do anything to play anywhere to do it. But yeah, when he does score that first goal, whether it is a scrappy tap in from 1 yard out, or if it's going to be a 40-yard screamer, I don't care. It's going to be mayhem. It's going to be rave. Even if it's like for a 7-0, for the seventh goal of a 7-0, we don't care. It will happen. But let's hope it is a good
Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't really tend to go up for corners, does he? Because he stays back because of his ability, his recovery pace, his ability to probably read the games pretty good. Maybe switches off a little bit here and there, but maybe that's the thing he's going to do with Danny Agger outside the box with a right foot curling into the top corner. What it may happen, but I just want to call out. Muse, Jay, thanks for kind of pointing me out. There is another stream tonight, 2 a.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our American kind of cousins, they host a show. It's a fantastic show. Please, just if you're awake at that point in the UK, or if you're in the States across the Atlantic, give it a watch. It's a great show. Always fun to catch up with them guys there. There was another question before we close off for today. Let me just see if I can just find it. Hell yeah. Okay. If when they will be given new contracts to Salah, Van Dijk, Trent this summer, they all run out on the 30th of June 2025. How many signings do you think there will be this summer? That's a very really kind of open question. We might need to have a think about it and see what positions we probably want to think about. But I'll throw some out there. Do you think we need a striker? Considering Nunes is probably really effective on the left. Whether he's actually is our number 9, is that a position that we need to kind of consider? Are we still obsessing over a number 6 with Hendo now finding his feet? Is there something that we need to kind of consider there? Bicetic will be back. Thiago, who knows what will happen? The summer is the summer. We'll concentrate at that point. Centre backs, if Matip is to go, do we need to kind of consider a new centre back? So that's 3-4 players there. Do you think we need to kind of consider? I'll throw it out to anyone that wants to go with it.
Well, I've been on record to say that I think this call for a destroyer number 6 is a little bit overblown. But if Thiago is leaving, then of course I would like a defensive midfielder to come in. But I think the more urgent need is a left-sided centre back with left-footed, just because it helps the balance. Right now we don't have a left-footed defender with Tsimikas and Roberts out, so. A young guy who can play on the left side would be fine, even though it's going to be tough because we all know that Virgil doesn't want to go on the right side. And it appears as if Kwanzaa is the, Virgil replacement in waiting. But I wouldn't mind a left-sided centre-back, and probably a young left-footed winger would be good. Looking at this commentary, Inacio, I don't think we're going to get Inacio because they're not going to pay 60 million for a guy who's not going to start every week. So that's why I think this Inacio thing is a no-no for Liverpool. Would I love him? Absolutely. But we're not going to pay 60 million for somebody who's not going to come in and start. But I would love a young, bright, left-footed right winger. Because let's face it, Mo will be here for another year or two, hopefully. But we play a lot of games now. Right now we're still involved in four set of games with the Premiership, the Cup games, etc. And we can't expect more to play all of these games. So we need a left-footed winger who is young to come in. This guy from Crystal Palace is being mentioned. I'm not
Police sure yeah, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, right. But the problem with that transfer, I'm thinking, is one, he would not want to come unless we are going to guarantee him game time. And with more around, he won't get that guarantee. And two, the kind of money that Crystal Palace may demand, even though I hear it has a release clause, I don't know how much it is, but my guess is 50 million or more than that. So it might be a tough sell. But I would love a guy like that. Failing that, maybe somebody like this Bakayoko guy that we have been hearing about, if we can find about 25 mil, etc. But I think based on it, I was looking the other day and looking at the top 16, and we by far no left footers. We have just 3 left footers in our team, and that does not help our balance. because
Yeah.
we have Harvey and the two left backs. That's it.
And Mo. Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is an interesting one. Trying to find that right player that would come in, whether that's going to be in a year's time. Mo may probably want to sign for another year. I think he's brilliant. He's an absolute legend. No one should ever question Mo. If he wants to go, he wants to go. If he wants to stay, give him a new contract. But Tom, Dean, any thoughts now that you basically Paul's given you a little bit of time to think as to who you'd like, how many players. Dean, I'll throw to you if you've got an answer. How many players do you think we need this summer?
Just in regards to the players being over 30 and whatnot, you might see over the next year or 18 months their minutes start dropping. So players in them positions are required. So our left centre back indicates Virgil van Dijk, obviously another young right winger is needed in my eyes. I'd say 3 players overall, probably another midfielder to replace Thiago because we will need the numbers, whether that is a 6 or a number 8. I would like Bakayoko, tricky, pacey. He won't cost an arm and a leg like Elise will, because a release clause obviously have to pay all up front, even though I do really like Elise. I can't really think of a left-footed centre-back other than Inacio, but I think if we really wanted him, we would have got him in summer, just because his release clause was cheaper.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we're pretty set. I know there's the whole number 6 thing, but other than Rodri and maybe Declan Rice, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think many top teams would play with a typical old-fashioned number 6 anymore. And even then, Declan Rice isn't an old-fashioned number 6 in my eyes. So this is probably why we're not being linked with any old-fashioned number 6s. We're going to try find an 8, a bit like Jones, who can play there, or a bit like, obviously, McAllister's currently doing. Maybe that's something we will look at. But as we all know, transfers and transfer rumours are very fluid. Things can change. Go back to the summer, we thought Salah would definitely go in next season. It looked like it's going to be the other way around. He might even get another contract. We don't know. This could even change again in another month. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah. And Tom, I'm going to ask you a left field question, right field actually, because Trent has that ability to play midfield. Do you think there's an option there for Trent to move in midfield, and then allowing a new right back? Frimpong comes to mind from Bayer Leverkusen. Do you think there may be something there?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Obviously, we know his offensive qualities. We've spoke about them so many times, and obviously does lack a bit defensively, so it makes sense. I think just the problem is we've got a lot of options in midfield now, and not at the right back position. So that's the conundrum that we have, isn't it? There's not really many right backs out there, really, is that spring to mind that you think you could go and get that are definitely Liverpool quality. So there's another issue. So like I said, I think it makes sense to move into midfield, but given the players that we have and the options that we have and the options that are out there at right back, I think maybe it does just make sense to just keep it right back and keep him inverting, because it's working at the moment, isn't it? So why change it?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Right then, gents, I want to say thank you. I've absolutely enjoyed my return to hosting the stream. I will be making this a regular thing. I just want to say thank you to Dean, to Paul, to Tom, to everyone in the comments. Hopefully we'll see you soon. You'll never walk alone. Up the Reds. Let's get a 6-0 win tomorrow. Actually,
Prediction?
let's do that. Yeah,
Prediction?
no, predictions. Paul, let's go. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
3-0.
3-0.
3-0. Clean sheet.
Good man. Tom?
2-0.
2-0. Dean?
3-1.
3-1. We're going to concede.
Come on.
I don't take things easily. It'll always leave some doubt for the second leg.
Oh, okay. All right. You're the realist in this group. Jay, you've come out with 2-1. Let's hope it's a good win. Let's hope kind of try to finish off the tie. And
what's your prediction, Charlie?
Oh, 6-0. I've already said.
Okay.
Let's go for it. Let's take it by the throttle and go from there. But just want to say love you all. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you soon.